So I have pretty much been going back and playing a bunch of old PS3 classic games that a lot of people do also love, and including that also on Xbox 360 with Driver San Francisco. But I was like, you know what? I can't really stop there. I also have to go back even further to the PlayStation 2. Now, before any of you guys do say it, every piece of footage you are seeing is captured from the PlayStation 2 itself, not an emulator. I do know people are asking about that stuff, but no, it is literally from the PlayStation 2. And if you guys do want to know how I am actually doing this, I can make a small video or, explain it on how I'm doing it, because obviously there is no capture card for the PS2. There is a few you can get that do plug into it, but I did end up finding a different way. Besides that, I was like, you know what? I need to go back on the PS2 and relive a lot of my favorite childhood games, one of which is ATV Off-Road Fury 3. This game for me, though, kind of did start a lot of the stuff for me back then. Now, I did end up playing the first one as well, but I did obviously go backwards where you guys did see the videos of Off-Road Fury 4. So I kind of figured why not go backwards, do 3 and 2 and stuff. I am searching for a first copy as well. And luckily, I did end up finding a Off-Road Fury 3 copy and an Off-Road Fury 2, which really did feel pretty dang special because, guys, obviously these games are going to be old. Off-Road Fury 3, I think, was 04. And Off-Road Fury 2, I believe, was 2002 or something like that. So, yeah, dude, these games are pretty old, bro. You're looking at over 20 years old on both of them. And it's kind of crazy because, like, when I was jumping on the PS2, I don't know, man, like, all of the memories really poured back in so much when I started playing Off-Road Fury 3. Like, this game was easily one of my favorites. But also, I gotta admit something, guys. This is probably going to sound a bit insane, but I also feel like other people might feel similar to me on this, or at least with other games, though. But we all do know playing these games back when we were kids and stuff, it probably is going to maybe feel a bit different than it does now and stuff like that, or maybe the way you imagine the game in your mind or something is not actually what it was, or, maybe it wasn't as good as you kind of think it was and stuff like that, which I feel like people have talked about, like, the entire nostalgic thing and all. But I gotta admit something, this might sound kind of crazy, but Off-Road Fury 3, I did enjoy the game. I was having fun on it again. But I gotta admit, compared to the fourth one, which I did like a lot more than 3, I'm gonna be real, which I'll talk about this a bit more in the second game. I did like Off-Road Fury 2 more than 3, guys, and I feel like when I was playing this game, I'm like, man, this is not as great as I remember it being, man. Like, I'm gonna be real and say that. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm still I obviously it was still fun to play. Definitely brought back a lot of memories because I still used to play this game for hours back then. I always did love racing. I always have loved quads and dirt bikes and all that stuff. So playing some of these games really do hit. And they are going to be some of the best games in this entire series that we've ever seen, even to this day, bro. Speaking of dirt bikes and ATVs, one game you guys will also be seeing, which is a personal favorite, dude. MX Unleashed. My goodness, I love that game so much. But it really was weird to me. Like, when I was playing Off-Road Fury 3, like, I was enjoying it, but I'm like, this game is not as great as I do remember it being. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the entire, maybe your mind, the way you were thinking of the game again isn't how it looks, or I kind of wonder if other people feel that way when playing old Need for Speed games and stuff like that, or old racing games, or honestly, it could be any old game in general. Maybe the way that you thought it wasn't actually as good as you initially thought. Maybe the nostalgic glasses were on, or maybe you were thinking the game's way better than it actually was and stuff, which who knows, that could have happened with Off-Road Fury 3. Now, overall, though, the gameplay of this is going to be really fun. I did like the tracks and stuff. I like the way the ATVs did end up handling. And I also kind of forgot that back on the PS2, there was going to be cheat codes back then. So, yeah, I kind of used some of those. That way I could use some of the faster ATVs and some of the upgrades and do some races and stuff and not, like, struggle in the beginning or stuff like that. I could have did that, but I'm like, nah, bro. I want to enjoy this game and just jump in and have a good time. So I did activate some cheat codes. I got some ATVs, and that definitely did make it even more entertaining. I did like the sense of speed in these games, the jumping, and the way the bike, and I guess you could say quad bike is what people would call them. The physics of them really did feel pretty dang good to me, especially jumping on this game 20 years later. To be real, guys, I think the last time I probably played this game might have been like '06. Like, it might have been, it was probably around that. Like, it is legit been that long. It could be a little bit, maybe like '07. I don't know. It's been a very long time, but basically 18 and 19 plus years since I've even played Off-Road Fury 3 because I was a kid back then when I was playing this game. Like, some of the childhood memories of these games, man, when you jump back on, I just feel like they hit you full-fledged. You start thinking of like the tracks. Like I was going through some of the tracks in this game, some of the national ones. I'm like, wait, I remember this, bro. I remember this track. I remember jumping this. I remember using this quad. I remember doing this. Like, it really does kind of hit you, and you kind of see, like, the memories. Even if you haven't played that game in a while, it still somehow hits you. One thing I kind of forgot about, though, is also the cockpit view in this game. I kind of thought that was not a thing. But no, it was. Now, yeah, it's not going to look like the new games do, but, it still has a cockpit view that was pretty funny to use. Now, it was pretty stiff for the most part, and I feel like most people, probably won't be able to actually play it like that because of the weirdness of the camera, but who knows. Either way, there was a cockpit view in there. You can switch. I normally use the farther camera, as I feel like it did work better in this game. One of my favorite things about Off-Road Fury 3, though, was easily down to the tracks. I love these Supercross tracks. They were fun. I gotta admit, though, I think I probably enjoyed the national tracks a bit more. I like how open they were. Some of them had a lot of jumps, a lot of corners, a lot of fast sections where you're doing like 80 miles an hour down a hill, jumping over another thing, hitting like an entire big gap jump, and then watching out for the trees and stuff like that, flying around another corner. Like, it was just a really fun overall game that I feel like a lot of people probably loved, and most likely did play a lot of this back then. A lot of the national tracks I kind of feel like I was enjoying a bit more than the Supercross, and that's probably like the high speed factor, you know, keeping the ATV on the track and stuff like that, and try not to hit a tree, which I did do that a couple of times, or crash a bit because I'm trying to get used to the handling of this game, which is kind of making me struggle slightly, but I was getting a bit used to it. I'm not using a full-on original PS2 controller. It looks like a PS2 controller, but it's kind of like one of the knockoff ones. It works very well. I also have an original PS2 controller, but I'm trying not to use that much, as I feel like it's in pretty dang good shape, and I don't want to, you know, make it worse, if you know what I'm saying. One of the other tracks you will see in this game is also along the lines of the entire, like, checkpoint type of thing, which is kind of similar to Off-Road Fury 4, but also not even close, as the point-to-point race in that game were probably some of my favorite guys. I absolutely loved them. In this game, though, the checkpoint is kind of like random checkpoints along different areas of some of the maps and stuff, and you kind of have to race around, like going down hills, going around trees and different things, watching out for buildings, depending on the track setup and all that stuff, and they were still pretty fun. Definitely was going to give you a full-on experience of different things besides just racing, if you were looking for that, even though it is technically racing, but it's not along tracks and jumps everywhere, even though you can still jump, but they're not needed if you want to go around the jumps. But besides all of that, though, I am curious to know what y'all think about ATV Off-Road Fury 3 in the comments below, guys. I gotta admit, going back in and playing this game, dude, it really does hit you in a lot of ways. Like, if it has been such a long time playing these series, you kind of wish they'd bring this series back, or at least go back to what made these games special and then bring them back again. It is kind of odd, though, because looking at some of the newer series of MX and stuff, which we all do know, that I would say Legends is pretty good. Like, I do enjoy that one, and I would say people have always wanted, like, Reflex to come back and different things. But I also feel like going back to the OGs of the ATV Off-Road series, dude, it hits you, man, because these games really did kind of start it all alongside MX, and obviously MX versus ATV back then, because that was also going to be a series where this one was kind of not technically the same one. But either way, guys, do let me know your thoughts on ATV Off-Road Fury 3 in the comments below. Jumping back on this game in 2025 on the original PS2 definitely makes you feel some type of way. Also, stay tuned for Off-Road Fury 2 in 2025 coming soon.